perfect, you're right.
We're never going to get it perfect because he moves around.
Right, rolling!
Sound?
Speed.
Okay, NGS, scene 1, take 1.
And action.
We're all stubborn dogmatics. But barely register somebody else's viewpoint that differs from our own. You see, that's the difference between being a man of science compared to a man. The reason why I wanted to make NGS was I wanted to make a science fiction. I was just browsing through my computer and all of a sudden it was there. It was, you know, NGS. It's something that we'd already done a few years ago. And I thought, well, it's there. It hasn't been done. We might as well, you know, make it.
Okay, so we're here on the first day and all the departments are working. We've got Dan over there who's having his makeup done. He's having his pussy wound put on. As you can see, all the walls are ready, but that won't be revealed until tomorrow on the second day when the curtain actually gets open. The window is covered in the crazy writing, and we've got the black magic camera over here being set up by DOP and camera assistant. And then over here we have the producer looking very creative with the sound guy drinking his coffee. The kitchen is all set up ready to shoot because we're shooting the kitchen stuff first thing today. We're about 20 minutes away from shooting now. I'm going to start rehearsing with the actors in a minute, and that's it for now.
When we originally wrote NGS, it was just basically to try and produce a very short film with 2 actors in 1 room with 3 lights for NGS, for the idea of our subconscious travelling around the universe. The idea for that has come from a few different places, really, taking into consideration that everyone has an idea of what is beyond this life. Put the characters in this position where there was a bit of they were loggerheads, so to speak, in the old days, thousands of years BC. The priest and the scientist would almost be the same, you know. So here we have someone trying to convince someone else of the situation and his beliefs. So he's sort of transcended being a scientist, and he now has to try and convince everybody.
I asked Lily and Emily to come along and help me simply because it was quite big in terms of quality and the standard that we wanted to make the film at. From previous experience, that acting and producing at the same time, you literally can't take on all these roles, so I needed someone that could really help out with a bit of experience. I brought Lily on board because she's got experience, she's a great producer and she knows all the ins and outs and how to really put a film together.
It was a very easy call. I've worked with Dan before and I had no doubt in his determination and his talent, and I could not wait to get on board and work on NGS. Dan was talking about this project a while back and he was always keen on getting me on board, but of course I had a very busy schedule and I didn't really know how much I could contribute to the film. But a few months ago, when he came forward with a script and it was already set in stone and there was a production going, I was extremely excited.
I brought Emily on board because she's very organised. I just have a lot of trust in her and I just thought that she'd be ideal to help, you know, put the film together. Anyone can say, oh, I'll make it, you know, help you make a film, but they really put so much heart and enthusiasm into it. They really made my job as a producer so much easier. So after that, I had I had to try and find a director who would be willing and good enough to actually do it. I just need someone to have a vision on it. So I came around bringing Dan Webb into this project because I'd worked with Dan before. He's an amazing scriptwriter, and visually, when he writes something, he really, just saying it, you can also visualise how he looks at, how he sees films, how he sees the characters, etc, etc. I had to ask Dan because I've worked with him before, I have a lot of trust in him, and I just thought it was the logical choice to make. Also because obviously he has the whole filming background. It was just a logical choice to bring him on board.
So Dan sent me a script written by Ross McKay, who I've worked with before, and it was a great script. It's all about science versus faith and had this NGS concept to it, which is really nice. The only thing that didn't click for me were the 2 characters, it didn't seem like they were reacting enough to each other. So what I did in a redraft was to really work out who these characters are and how they're going to react to this, and just basically so that the emotions were higher, they were reacting further off each other, and it led to the end.
I hadn't met Dan Webb before I read the script. When I read the script, I was really impressed and I was really keen to meet him. And after I met him, he instantly seemed totally into this, like he owned it. It was his script and he was really keen to take it as forward as possible.
So I'd worked with Dan Pellegrino on a couple of little projects before, and he approached me and said he had this new short that he was going to be producing and starring in, and wanted me to, I suppose, read for the role of Perry.
My favourite part of the project was actually putting it together, you know, once from the beginning, putting the team together was amazing, simply because we had all this talent to play with, you know, bringing Dan on board, you know, actually discussing the basics of the film and how he visualised it. That was exciting because, you know, this is how I would like to do it. I'm going to rewrite the script a little bit because I feel we need to do this, this and this. And I was like, absolutely. You know, I gave him a lot of leeway in terms of, you know, let him do what he wants. He obviously brought in specific crew members that he felt were needed, and he did a great job of that.
We did have a couple of production meetings right before the production, the actual filming, and I was extremely happy and very confident, and the confidence and the determination, the excitement the crew had just before the shoot. I could never predict that it would be such an exciting project for everyone, but I was so happy and so pleased that this has come so far and everyone felt so excited.
I kind of had a bit of a free role to sort of go and develop him almost as we were working on it. So as Simon's sort of character became more aggressive, I think Perry sort of reacted to that, and it became quite a natural progression for their characters, really, rather than something that was particularly, I suppose, set in stone. I
was very tense throughout the whole, even through rehearsals, I was very tense because I didn't want to get it wrong, which was so important for Dan and Henry to really support me. Well, we all supported ourselves, but it was really important. But
actually, we had a lot of preparation time. It wasn't something that was rushed at all. I think that was made clear very, very early on that we wanted to have this script sort of nailed, and actually we learned it really more like a play. So Dan and I could do it through on one take, from start to finish.
In terms of the performances, they started very minimalistic. When we first read the script, it was just as it was on the page, and we had lots of rehearsal time and to just go over it again and again and again.
So we had a good 6, 7, 8 kind of rehearsals, probably just with me and Dan and Dan the director, kind of going over it, changing little bits, adding, you know, the old nuance here and there, and it changing tiny little lines at a time, the way the voice is, and just eye movements and things like that, until we got to the point where we were all comfortable with it, and Dan and Henry just sat and did the entire thing in front of me, and I had no comments left to make. It developed very naturally over that process, so that when we turned up on the days of shooting, I think we really understood what we wanted to do.
So we've nearly reached the end of the day. We've actually wrapped the film, but unfortunately we found out that the wall wasn't dark enough yesterday, so we have to reshoot all the wides in the film, which means going literally back to the very beginning of the entire film, even though we've shot it all in chronological order and killed Henry and Dan's been angry. We'll go right back to the beginning when it says kettles on and do 7 pages of acting at once in a single take. We are meant to have gone home at 6, it is now 7:10, and to be honest, we just want to go to the pub and relax. So fingers crossed we get it done. We're just cleaning Dan up ready for the shot, and then we're done. What's important is you take their strengths as people and apply it to the characters. You have to try and keep pushing him and pushing him until he gets a bit out of breath, and then the performance is a bit more natural. if you do the take again and again and again, they get a bit tired and breathless after a while, and the actual performance is better because of that, because it doesn't look like they're doing a line so much. It looks like they're genuinely reacting to what's happening. The actual set was great to be on. Everyone was very professional but fun at the same time.
The art was another great piece of the film. I mean, as you can see when you watch it, there's all the posters, all the artwork in the film. It's just amazing.
It's not often you get to work on something with so many people in such a confined space that we were, and yet everyone got on really well. Everyone was ultra professional but also had a good time, and I think that makes a lot of difference when people are actually enjoying themselves. When a set is so tight, and we were all just in one room for 2 days with a large number of people around, I think to have that kind of environment and yet everyone, I think, go away from it going, that was wicked. I think that's a massive positive. So
I feel like it's been a success working on this film together with all the other crew. The ultimate goal for me is to get it recognised in the film industry, but most of all get all the people who's worked on it, get their talents recognised. We're just looking to basically get some sort of recognition within the film industry for all of our talents and hard work.
The ultimate goal for NGS is obviously exposure. Exposure for this project is key. We want to show the world what we're capable of doing as filmmakers, and although the film itself is it's located in a confined space, the quality within, the details, everything really shows, you know, the filmmakers' ability of putting such a simple project. We feel it's a project worth showing off.